Hello, I'm Margaret Kimberley, editor of Black Agenda Report and a contributor to the anthology China Changes Everything. My chapter is entitled China Cannot Be Contained. The idea of containing China is a constant in U.S. politics and speaks to notions of U.S. supremacy and is therefore quite dangerous. But China's economic and technical prowess cannot be stopped, no matter how hard the U.S. tries. The country emerging as the preeminent economy in the world has done so because it is socialist and makes decisions based on meeting the needs of the people, and therefore it cannot be contained by the U.S. In 2019, the National Defense Authorization Act barred U.S. government agencies from contracting with companies using components from Huawei, the Chinese telecom giant. But the Department of Defense requested an exemption on the grounds that Huawei was so firmly entrenched around the world that finding a replacement would be impossible. The Biden administration enacted several bans, including sales of advanced computer chips. But of course, China innovated, creating its own chips, and one result was the DeepSeek artificial intelligence platform, an open-source rival of ChatGPT created at a fraction of the cost. China excels in building the grid to power AI and now has an oversupply of electricity, while the U.S. struggles with an electric grid now taxed even further by the construction of data centers around the country. The Trump administration announced a tariff trade war against most of the world, and which featured tariffs of as much as 145% against China. But it was Trump who backed down, after China stopped purchasing agricultural products and, most importantly, restricted access to rare earth minerals. After meeting with President Xi Jinping, Trump lowered tariffs back to the rate of 15%, which is what his administration started with. So much for containment. I visited China twice in the past 2 years, and I experienced China's 30,000-mile high-speed rail system, which the U.S. is incapable of reproducing. The U.S. Amtrak rail system recently added 5 upgraded trains to its Acela service between Boston and Washington. Press announcements reported that these new trains can reach speeds of 160 miles per hour. But tracks along the route have not been upgraded, and trains will rarely reach this top speed, which is already low in comparison to China's high-speed rail service. The train I rode on reached a speed of 186 miles per hour. The U.S. now spends more than $900 billion on defense. That is to say, on the corporations that make up the military-industrial complex. And that fact alone explains why we do not have the infrastructure that Chinese citizens take for granted. Enriching corporations is the priority in the U.S., not creating what the people need. But despite China's successes, the U.S. won't take no for an answer. No sooner had Trump retreated after his meeting with Xi Jinping than his administration instigated a conflict between China and Japan, whose new prime minister followed Washington's orders, as vassals will do, and made very troubling, threatening comments about Taiwan. China reacted swiftly, reminding Japan that their relationship could change and immediately taking action on trade, transportation, and other issues. Military advantage is all the U.S. has. Its proxies in Japan or other countries can assist in antagonizing China with brute force and the threat of force, which is why the U.S. is the dangerous nation that must be contained. Meeting human needs is never part of the equation in the U.S., not for capitalists or for their errand boys and errand girls in government. It is socialism which provides so many benefits to the people of China. And the sooner that people in the U.S. realize that and strive to make the same thing happen here, the better off we will be. Thank you.